You know the feeling. You're going about your day, and suddenly something happens that makes the world transform into a place that is no longer safe for you. Maybe you're in a meeting and someone said something that sounded like a criticism of you or your work. Or maybe you're hanging out with friends and they're laughing at something that feels like a joke made at your expense. Or maybe you really want to hear back from someone and you look at your phone and all of a sudden you realize just how long it's been since they've written you back. You're triggered. And you know it because you feel an intensely negative feeling just take over your whole consciousness, right? Maybe your heart's starting to beat and you get hot in your body and there's kind of an anger there like you want to fight. Or maybe your heart closes and you just totally shut down and you just sort of go into a flight or a freeze mode. And then your mind starts telling you things that sound like absolute truths, like, I'm never going to get this right, or everyone is always going to hate me, or like, I always do this, I always mess this up, right? A trigger is when one of our deepest fears feels like it's been confirmed by the world. And these deep fears are often ones that we try to disprove constantly. They're fears like, I'm not good enough, or I don't belong, like I'm alone in this world, or I'm not important and I'm worthless. And so when we feel like those fears have been confirmed by the world, it can send us into this triggered state that can last for days. So, what do you do when you're in this triggered state and you realize you're there? What are the best ways to be with yourself to just make it a little bit easier and at the very least not prolong being in that state? So, the first thing to do when you realize that you've been triggered is to breathe, to get out of your head and go into the body and just stay as present as you can in your reality. Our mind is going to continually loop these thoughts, these super scary thoughts like I'm always going to mess this up or no one is ever going to understand me, right? We're going to keep looping those thoughts over and over again. And we might even start bringing up past memories of times that that's happened to us before, thus re-triggering ourselves over and over again. So the first thing you want to do when you feel like you've been triggered is to get out of your head, go into the body. The next thing to do is to be kind to yourself. Don't criticize yourself for being in a triggered state. Oftentimes, these triggers are old pains that we experienced for the first time when we were really young, like children. And so what's happening in that moment when we're triggered is that our inner child has actually been hurt. And so the last thing you want to do is to criticize that inner child or scold the inner child for being upset. Treat yourself like you would a child. Be kind to it. Embrace it. Tell it that it'll be okay, right? Treat it with love because that is really what's going on inside. Another thing is to remember that this will pass. That all of those thoughts and scary, kind of repetitive beliefs that you're saying to yourself will stop. They will go away. Okay, so don't make any important decisions from a triggered state. If you make decisions from that state, you will basically be creating a world where the world is assumed to be an unsafe place. You're going to be manifesting an unsafe world into your life. So don't make any important decisions from a triggered state. So another thing to keep in mind is that the person who said the thing or did the thing that triggered you probably has no idea how much it hurt. Unless they know you really well and they know what your triggers are, the person who triggered you most likely has no clue that you're upset. And so part of us might want to blame them or to focus on them as sort of the source of your pain. But that will only prolong the trigger, and it will also create distance between you and another person. And so to understand that this will pass and that your feelings about that person will also subside, and the next time you interact with them, to do so in a state of, with the spirit of, forgiveness, or the spirit of non-judgment. So the three things to keep in mind when you get triggered. The first one, get out of your head, breathe, go into the body. The next thing, be kind to yourself, be kind to your inner child. Don't criticize yourself for being triggered. It's okay, everybody gets triggered. The third thing is, remember that it will pass, and don't make any important decisions from this place. And also, don't demonize the person who said the triggering thing. The more you practice these things when you get triggered, the more resilient you'll become. Our triggers will never go away, unfortunately, but they will have less and less of an impact on your life the more you're able to handle them in a way that is healing and not in a way that is perpetuating. So, I hope this helps, and please take care of yourselves. Thanks a lot.